Hi guys, another video relating to this Faraday flashlight. Coil, magnet goes through the coil, generates power, lights an LED. That one at the moment is faulty. I have ordered a replacement battery for it now. I was trying to resist doing that, but I've ordered a replacement battery now. So when that comes, we'll fit it and see if we can charge it. In the meantime, I've been looking at what I've got in stock. I've got some neodymium magnets that are rather nice. They are, I think they might be 20mm diameter. That cardboard tube looks like it's similar size, a little bit bigger than I'd like it to be, but that will slide in there for demonstration purposes. One of the suggestions I was given was try the circuit in one of these garden solar lights. I'm switched off at the moment. These take power from the solar panel, which is only about 1.5 volts, something like that, maybe even less. Store it in a little button cell inside, and then when there's not enough light shining on there, the LED comes on. So at the moment the LED's out. Put my hand over it, LED comes on. If we try and replace the solar panel with a coil wrapped around here, when the LED slides up and down in it, that will generate power the same way that the solar panel does. So we should be able to get it to store it in the button cell. While we're shaking, we're generating power, same way that the solar panel is, so the LED shouldn't be on. And then as soon as we stop shaking, we've stopped generating power, so same as no sunlight on the solar panel, and the LED should come on. The only thing we will need is we'll need to rig up a rectifier bridge so that the power is only going into the battery in the right direction, because as the magnet goes one way, you get power generated in one direction, and as it goes the other way, it will generate power in the opposite direction. So you need to rectify that so it goes into the battery the right way round. Right, if we just have a look in here, I am confident these have got small button cell nickel metal hydride batteries, but just one. There we are, tucked under there. So we should be able to use that circuit board if we add a rectifier bridge to it to store power on that battery and then light the LED. So I'll need to find some diodes to make a rectifier bridge. We need a coil of wire. At the moment, I've got this old transformer, so I'll see if I can split that open and see if we can unwind the wire that's on it. We might be lucky, we might be unlucky. What I forgot to say was I was hoping I could use that plastic tube and put a coil around that. But I haven't got any neodymium magnets that are the right size. That's 15mm, the hole. Those are too big. And the other ones I've got are only 10mm, which will rattle around quite a lot in there. I mean, potentially I could use them as a push, but being as I found those and that cardboard tube, that's why we're going that way. That way would have been very neat, because it would have been using what we'd actually got. If you haven't tried to get one of these apart before, they are either glued or heat sealed around the seam here. If you've got something like these, you can usually crack that seal with suitable pressure in the right place. And get them apart. Just see if we can get started this way. Well, there was a click then. You might be able to see there's a gap forming along the bottom here. Can we see that? We're not focused. Yeah, so I'll work my way around there and see if I can get it apart. So, a bit of gentle persuasion. And there we are. Whether the coil inside will be any use to me, we will find out. Because the next thing you've got to do is try and get this apart. Now, if you're really lucky, if you hit it with a hammer and a chisel along the line there, it might spring apart. Alternatively, you'll have to saw it. But if you are lucky, a hammer and a cold chisel, as it's called, you might be able to get that just to split. So I will go out in my garage and hit it with a hammer. Well, I have to admit, I'm quite surprised. It actually worked. Hit it with a hammer, with a chisel along the line, and we've got it open. Will that conveniently slide out, or will that need assistance? That is coming out. Because what would be really nice would be if you could actually use the coils without having to unwind them and wind them up around the tube. But obviously they're going to be rectangular. So, there we go. One side will probably be a thicker wire than the other side. Yeah, this is the thinner wire on this side. That looks like that will pop out. So, we have a coil of wire there. I have no doubt if I put an LED across there, there's a good chance that just waving that magnet in front of it might light it up. I'll try that. We have a red LED just soldered across the terminals there. So if I just do that, we are generating enough power. Has to be the right way round. So that's the wrong way round. Turn it around the other way. And there we go. So that's the theory. What we need to do is unwind that coil, which may or may not be easy, and then wind it around this bit of cardboard tubing, and then we can slide this up and down inside. Right, somebody's bound to ask me, what about the other coil? It's thicker wires, less turns. So we're getting nothing. Yeah, right, okay, so the next thing to do is strip this one down and use that wire to make our coil round the cardboard tube. A quick update on trying to unwind that coil. Where it's been wound tight, some of the layers have sunk into each other, and I was doing fairly well. I've got, I don't know, a few turns there, but eventually we got to a point where it was actually caught and I could not get it loose. So what I've done now is taken the plastic center out the way, and I'm going to try and unwind it from the inside instead of the outside. And we'll see how we get on with that. Ran into a few problems here, guys. I had trouble getting the windings off that transformer. I did fairly well. I think I got more than half of it. But where it had been wound tightly, you just couldn't separate the layers. So we ended up in a real mess there. So this is not the finished article. There's quite a few learning points here. One learning point is I used the cardboard tube. Winding the wire around it tightly, the tube is actually compressed slightly in the middle. So the magnet does run up and down in there, but it gets caught. Haven't put any capacitor or anything on there. We are just directly connected off the end of the coil onto the LED. I think we can see the green light comes on. Nice and bright. So that'll probably do for stage one. And I'll have to have a little think whether I want to find suitable plastic tubing, because yeah, it works, but it's just not right. It works very well, actually. I don't have to shake it that hard, to be honest. And it's nice and bright, so you can actually see it with the room lights on. But yeah, that magnet it's chewing up the inside of the cardboard, so it's actually making itself worse as we're going on. So plastic tube, and we'll have to rewind it onto a plastic tube, see what size I can find. It would be nice to be able to use those magnets that I've got, but if not, well, we'll just have to see. Yeah, still, that was interesting to get that far, because I didn't initially expect to be able to separate out the metal parts of the coil, but that came apart. So we were on to a winner initially, but then, as I say, they were just wound too tightly and they were digging in, so when you were trying to separate them, I broke it twice. I managed to get most of it off, and then it fell apart anyway. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment so I know how I'm doing. And somewhere up here there'll be some links to related playlists. Thanks again.